Andre Brown is a father and a husband, and he served 23 years of a 40-year sentence for attempted murder, a crime he insists he never committed. 2 years ago, that conviction was vacated, and he became a free man. But that decision was recently overturned, and he was ordered to surrender tomorrow and for potentially another 18 years in prison.
It's unconscionable to think that I will have to go back.
Earlier today, I sat across from Andre and his wife as they became emotional.
I will have to leave my beautiful family. They know that I'm innocent.
How are you feeling, Tamika?
Sad, but still hopeful, because I know there's a glimmer of hope that can still happen today.
And their hope arrived as I drove back from our interview in a stunning turn of events. We got the call from Andre's attorney that he'd been granted a temporary 30-day adjournment, while New York Governor Kathy Hochul considers his application for clemency.
God is amazing.
Andre was convicted on 2 counts of attempted murder in the Bronx, locked up for more than 2 decades until he was released in 2022. His conviction was vacated due to, quote, ineffective assistance of counsel.
I picked up something up for you. A moment that I can rewatch 1,000 times. It was just brilliant. Surprised both of them.
But on Christmas Eve, just a few months ago, Andre and his family learned an appellate court reinstated his conviction.
Totally devastated. Just my heart dropped all the way down to my feet.
He was in disbelief, and I was in disbelief, and I just started going crazy a little bit, just like what happens now?
Andre and Tamika met when they were children, and then they lost touch. They later reunited, married, and had a son while he was in prison.
I asked God, I'm a man with 40 years, what's going to be my legacy? And he answered, and he gave me my son, Andre.
Now his stepdaughter worries most about her brother if their dad has to go back to prison.
I don't want my brother to be a statistic, to grow up without a father in the house. I had that experience. It's not too good, especially he's a boy. He needs that male figure in his life.
Andre has always maintained his innocence. In prison, he began studying the law after his friend brought him to the law library.
He showed me the spine of the book, and on the spine of the book, it has a key. And he said, you see this key? You read, and you read. You're gonna get out of here. And that's all I did. From that point on.
Behind bars, he received his paralegal certification. And after being released in 2022, he worked for a judge, mentoring at-risk youth.
Do you think if you had to go back in for another sentence, you could survive it?
I think it would drive me crazy.
And he knows the dangers that wait for him on the inside, especially now. The New York State prison system is in crisis. 2,000 prison guards fired for failing to return to work after a weeks-long strike over working conditions. Recent high-profile deaths of incarcerated men being investigated and allegations of abuse. The National Guard even called in to fill the void. Andre's attorney, Oscar Michelin, still fights for his innocence. He says the time he served is enough.
Putting Andre back in prison serves absolutely no agenda of the criminal justice system. It doesn't make the streets any safer. It doesn't promote justice. It doesn't even promote vengeance because he's already served 23 years. As an attorney, I've never had a case with more evidence of innocence. And I've certainly never had a case that's a stronger petition for clemency.
Now their hope lies with the New York Governor, Kathy Hochul, to grant Andre clemency before his new court date on April 17th. The office offering us no comment on pending applications.
What do you want the governor to know right now?
I want the governor to know that she has the power, that we are leaning on her shoulders, that Lady Justice is blind. It is literally blind, but she has the ears to hear the cries of the people. And my family is crying out onto her to stop this nightmare.
Yasmin Vossoughian is joining us now. Yas, fresh off of that interview. I know you were just back from that not long ago, and that dramatic moment when our crew was there when he got news of that 30-day adjournment. But so what does he do now? What does Andre Brown do now? Just wait?
Yeah, basically, that is exactly what he does, but he gets to wait 30 more days. I mean, the reality a couple of hours ago was that he was going to have to turn himself in. He was being forced to turn himself in tomorrow morning for 18 more years in prison after having served 23 years. Now he has 30 more days so that the governor can decide whether or not she's going to grant him clemency. There are three pathways in which she could take here. One is you go back to jail, and that's it. And the decision is what the decision is. She could, in fact, grant him clemency and say, you are an innocent man, and he will no longer be considered a convicted felon. And or she could say, this is time served. In which he would then have to submit to a parole officer, but nonetheless remain free. And really, in this time period of the next 30 days, of course, there's going to be conversations between his attorney, Oscar, and the governor's office. That's but they will just have to wait for a decision from the governor. But nonetheless, they are certainly happy today. They have more time together, Hal.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.